What's going on, Panthers Nation? It's Aaron Duncan here, back again with another Panthers video brought to you by Unnecessary Bluntness Sports Talk. And today we have some news that came in for the front office of the Carolina Panthers. They now have hired a new assistant general manager, and it's none other than former Panthers great, Dan Morgan. So we brought him back home to the Carolinas where it belongs. But before we get into all the details, because we're going to talk about what this means for the team going forward as far as the front office, David Tepper, and Matt Rhule. But before we dig into all that, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and give the video a thumbs up. Okay, so when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell icon also, because the bell icon is going to make sure you get notification every time I drop a video, every time I go live, every time I do anything else, because I do live every Tuesdays at 7:30, and it's pretty fun. The phone lines get open. We chopping it up, talking about the Panthers news and the NFL news for the week. So make sure you guys turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss that. And like I said, giving the video a thumbs up really helps it out, and the algorithm really helps me grow. It doesn't really cost you a thing, man. So I really appreciate it if you guys do that. Hey, real quick, down below in the comments, let me know how you feel about the Panthers hiring Dan Morgan, a former Panther, into the front office finally. Let me know how you feel in the comments. So the news came out that the Panthers were actually trying to interview a couple guys, and one of those guys was Dan Morgan. There was a few other people from the Eagles and some other teams that the Panthers were going to interview, and I was just hoping that our assistant GM search wasn't going to be as long as our head GM search when we hired Scott Fitterer. Now, a lot of people thought that Dan Morgan could have possibly been a candidate for the head GM position, but the Panthers decided to go another direction. But Dan Morgan was the head director of player personnel for the Buffalo Bills. So it's really just a relief to me that we finally got somebody from the Buffalo Bills versus them taking players from us. You know, typically it's a one-way street when it comes to the relationship. You know that the Bills pretty much took our GM, our defensive coordinator, a bunch of players from there, obviously, including Josh Norman, Star Lotulelei, Mario Addison. We even traded Kelvin Benjamin up there. You guys know how that relationship with the Bills works. It seems just like they're more like not really the developmental team because they're a playoff team, but it just seems like it's the connections between the two are just odd and scary. But regardless of the fact, it feels good to get a former Panther back on staff. Now, I know David Tepper has done all he could to kind of rid the Panthers organization of anything that had to do with Jerry Richardson, whether it was the statue outside, the head coach Ron Rivera, the guy Cam Newton, the most important player in franchise history, and they're even getting rid of the J.J. Jansen, one of the only players left from the 2015 Super Bowl roster besides Shaq Thompson. Nevertheless, it feels good to get some 2000s Panther spirit in here. Now, Dan Morgan, as a player, he was a dog, man. I'm not going to lie, he was a dog. This guy was pretty much Luke Kuechly before we knew about Luke Kuechly. Now, I'm not saying he was going to be one of the greatest linebackers of all time, but a lot of his constituents, his teammates, the coaches thought that had he been able to stay healthy, he would have been a Hall of Famer similar to how Luke Kuechly is. And what's really weird is that he probably had a total of 5 or 6 concussions in his career that really put him into a point where he had to retire. He only played in the league 7 years. So the similarities of Luke Kuechly are even crazier. But even on the field, the intensity, the leadership, the amount of production that you got. This guy is rumored to have 23 tackles in that Super Bowl that we lost to the Patriots, according to the Panthers coaches. So this guy was a dog on the field and a beast. He brought intensity. He was willing to do everything that it took to win, and it seems like that's the kind of guy that he is now. He didn't really get a high up job as in the front office when he retired. He kind of had to start low, and that's kind of what happened to bring him to Carolina. He got to start as an intern with the Seattle Seahawks, and he always credits Scott Fitterer for really taking him under his wing and really helping him be available to help him with the evaluation process as he became a scout and slowly climbed the ladder to become the guy that he is today. And now he gets to reunite with Scott Fitterer after Scott Fitterer was an assistant GM in Seattle. Now Scott's the head guy. And now Dan Morgan gets to be that assistant guy, learn and observe with guys that he's familiar with. So I feel real confident about having finally some Panthers blood back in this front office to kind of give us the spirit of how the Panthers football and franchise has always been and how it is. Because that 2000s run that they had where they went to the Super Bowl and turned this program around was a beautiful thing. And Dan Morgan was drafted here in 2001 and ended up retiring in about 2008 or 2009. But he only played with us in his career. I mean, he did try to play for the Saints, but he ended up retiring. But this guy is a Panther through and through. He's nothing but Panther. He's always going to be a Panther. He's a Panther for life. So it feels good to get him back. Now, what does this mean for the front office as a whole? Because we've seen David Tepper being pretty hands-on as a guy making decisions in this team, but it seems like now they're starting to get his guys, whether it's Rhule or Fitterer. Now they have this structure in place. He always talked about during this process after they fired Ron Rivera that they wanted to hire an assistant and a head GM to kind of spread out some of the duties, create a process that everybody can be a part of, introduce analytics into it. That way it's almost like microwave that you could plug and play anybody into it as long as they're on the same page as far as personnel, what the team is trying to accomplish, and the process to get to that. They want it to be, sometimes there is some gut feeling when it comes to football decisions being made, but they want to kind of eliminate that and make it sort of a linear process where you just go down the line past these steps, whether it comes to player decisions, money decisions, coaching decisions, anything like that. And hopefully now that David Tepper has all of his guys in, that they have a full staff in the general management, he can kind of step back and kind of just do what regular owners do, just chill. We don't want to see you out in front. We don't want to hear rumors about you being some aggressive guy that wants to do this, that, or whatever. We don't want you to be Jerry Jones or Dan Snyder. Fall back into the shadows and let the football people do football things. That's kind of the thing that we want to see for him. But what does this mean for Matt Rhule? Because I know Matt Rhule had a pretty big say-so in a lot of players in draft that happened in these first 2 years, even with Marty Hurney and this year with Scott Fitterer. But does he take a little bit less duty on that and focus more on the player development? I'm not sure, because in Seattle, which really seems like they're trying to really emulate, I know Pete Carroll had a little bit decision on the type of player they want and the type of environment and culture they're bringing. So maybe he keeps as much power, as much say-so as he has been. I mean, he tries to defer and say that he doesn't make some of these decisions, but we don't believe that one bit. Matt Rhule is the one guy out of this front office and coaching staff that you shouldn't really believe most of what he's saying. Now, Scott Fitterer, he hasn't been a guy that's been out in front in the media because as assistant GM, you don't get to interview that often. You don't get that much press. But since he's been as the head guy here, he's been very forthcoming and transparent in what he's wanted to do. He's been very consistent. What he said he was going to do, he's done it. They said they wanted to get more picks and draft more players. They did that. He's been sticking to his word. He said he wanted to address all his needs in free agency and then get the best players available in draft. They stuck to their word. So you can believe what this guy says, and you can believe what Dan Morgan says, because he's coming from a guy working under Brandon Beane who excelled with us, but he's coming back now to work under a guy that he's used to. So I expect the cohesion to be seamless. I don't see anything to rock the boat. I'm just worried about why did they wait until after the draft. Now let me think about this from I guess a 90,000 feet perspective. I guess Dan Morgan, just listening to him, he's been on the road. You know, he does scouting. He's head of scouting. He travels during football season. He went and saw a bunch of players on the road and stuff. So maybe he had put in so much work year round as that scout and director of play personnel. He felt like he owed it to Brandon Beane, Scott McDermott, and the Buffalo Bills to at least go through the draft process before that. Now, what was the Panthers doing? Were they trying to put out feelers before then, or did they want to just wait too because they didn't want another outside force who may or may not be on the same page with them to be a part of the draft? I don't know. But assistant GM is a pretty big hire to wait till now. And the timing is just weird. I've never seen a team do this. Granted, the Panthers have done a lot of things that I've never seen do. I've never seen a team hire a new coach and then fire the GM when you knew you were going to fire the GM the whole time. Typically, you want to get the GM first so it can help you with the coaching search. But you had it backwards. You had the coaches helping with the GM search. So it was really weird. You know what I'm saying? Very, very weird. Nevertheless, expect the unexpected when it comes to these Carolina Panthers because they're just doing things different now. David Tepper is just doing things the non-traditional way. Matt Rhule's doing the things the non-traditional way. So more strange things have happened before, and I expect more to keep going. But you guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about this hire. How do you feel about how they're going to be able to work together, whether it's Fitterer, Rhule, and Tepper all together? Do you think Tepper will take a step back now that he has all his guys here? Let me know down below in the comments. But without further ado, I'm Aaron Duckett signing off for the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. I'll see you next time. Peace.